Greetings and welcome to Roman of the Empire. I'm your host, Roman. Today we're going to do a spoiler-free review of the film The Green Knight. I very much enjoyed this movie. So we're going to go over just the basic plot points and get the journey going, and then we'll talk a little bit about just the filmmaking itself. So, The Green Knight, written and directed by David Lowery, and starring Dev Patel as Gawain. He's the person you see throughout the film. There are other good performances, but his is really the only one that matters a lot. And this is the hero's journey. That's the story of the Green Knight. So the story starts on Christmas Day. Gawain is he's kind of whoring it up, and he's just a complete drunken mess, really. That's your introduction to Gawain. Can't find his boots. He rides barefoot back to his house so he can get ready to go to court at Camelot. His mother comments that he smells like a gin distillery, because he probably smells like a gin distillery. So this is not the story of a young Arthur. He and his knights are well past their prime. They've gone out and done all of their great deeds. And when Arthur asks Gawain, what does he see when he looks out at the round table? He says, legends. Because at this point, they are. These are men who are bigger than their time. So the king asks Gawain to tell him a story about himself so that he can get to know him better. And Gawain, blank-faced, says, I don't have one. And the queen says, yet. So Gawain isn't a knight yet. Also, that's something to note. But he wants nothing more so he can fall in line with these great men. He hasn't done anything other than be in their presence. So he doesn't have a story, but he wants one. So Arthur is making the Christmas toast. The doors to the hall burst open, and in rides the Green Knight. He's a giant. And he looks a lot like Groot in armor, if you can visualize that. So he issues a challenge to the court. Whoever can strike him gets to win his big giant axe as a prize. But whatever blow is laid shall be repaid in kind 1 year later at the Green Chapel. So if you scratch his arm, if you cut off his arm, stab him in the heart, that's what you're going to get in kind 1 year later. So no one takes up the challenge. They're like, we're good. We've really done all of our great and noble things. Hey, we'll pass on this. So Gawain sees his chance. He's like, I'll do it. Hops over the table, but he needs a sword. So Arthur gives him his sword, the king's sword, to take up this challenge. So he's facing off against the Green Knight, and the Green Knight does something entirely unexpected. He lays down his axe, he kneels on the floor, and offers his neck to Gawain. Now, call it hubris, call it ignorance. He wants to look great. He lops off the Green Knight's head. And he's feeling pretty good about himself. Until the Green Knight's body stands up, picks up the head, which utters 1 year. Hops on the horse, laughs his way out of the hall and out of Camelot. At this point, Gawain is feeling less good about himself. This is the story of that year, of Gawain's journey to the Green Chapel. And it's wonderfully told. He encounters thieves, giants, a mysterious lord and lady, ghosts, and a very charming fox. So he's a flawed man who wants to be something more. He wants to do the knightly thing, the noble thing. And sometimes he does. That's all I'm going to tell you about the Green Knight itself. It's the hero's journey. I very much want you to watch it, so that's why I'm not going to spoil it for you with me describing every detail of the film. It's something that you really need to experience. So there are many things that make the film itself interesting. The original story, written in the 14th century by the unknown author, that's how it appears on the screen, is anonymous, but the author, 14th century, unknown. J.R.R. Tolkien, whom you may remember, wrote a small series called Lord of the Rings. It's unimportant. But he did a wonderful translation from the original Old English text. And it's funny because this is no one knows who the author is, but this is one of the better known Arthurian tales. So that's fascinating. The cinematography is just absolutely wonderful. You really get the vibe for medieval England. It looks cold and damp and fantastic. The David Lowery, this is something I very much enjoyed. He takes his time with the shots. Nothing's rushed. He lets you really feel the moment. He lets it take as long as it needs to. And it doesn't drag on. You don't get that kind of feeling. But in the age of the flash, bang, quickie, jerky camera stuff, it's very refreshing to watch a man rowing a boat as long as he needs to. And the shooting again is just wonderful. The color palette is very cool. Everything is basically gray or green. It gives you that cold, damp English feeling, with the exception of the color orange. It pops up from time to time, and when it does, it's very, very present. The first color you see in the film, the orange, is Gawain's cloak. He is the first bright thing you see in the movie, and it's just done very well. And then the acting. Dave Patel as Gawain is brilliant, and there's the performances in the film. None of them are particularly long, except for Dave Patel, but they're very well done. You do see some familiar faces in there, but again, no one really gets the camera time like Dev Patel. And that's it. That's the Green Knight and what I liked about it. So you need to see the movie. It's visually stunning, wonderful performances, and the story itself, that's where all good things come from. The story itself is brilliant. In an age when good movies are very hard to find, this is one. I am Roman of the Empire. I bid you farewell. Be kind.